got to talk about the White Sox. I mean, the White Sox are all the rage right now in the news, in the rumor mill. So we had Bob Nightingale come out with an article this morning. He always comes out with an article on Sunday mornings, and there was a lot of White Sox in there, a lot of Garrett Crochet. You had Luis Robert, Michael Kopech, Eric Fetty was even popping up in the news today. But the hot story right now is that the Dodgers are looking to possibly do a package for Garrett Crochet, Luis Robert, and Michael Kopech. If the Dodgers pull that off, that I think Twitter would absolutely melt. X would just melt to the ground. My goodness. But here's the thing. The Dodgers have the firepower to pull that off. If they really wanted to do it, if they were that motivated to pull something off, they could definitely do it. Personally, I think Garrett Crochet is a perfect fit for the Dodgers. I think he fits kind of what's going on over there. You know, they have a lot of injuries right now, but they're going to be getting guys coming back. We'll get to the Dodgers in a little bit. We'll get to their news and whatnot, but they're going to be getting guys coming back. You already got Kershaw coming back this week. But when it comes to, postseason action, I feel like they got the starters in check. They're going to be getting bullpen pieces back as well. And I think with Garrett Crochet, I think the Dodgers, they're the perfect team to manage his innings, right? He's going to be on a pitch limit or an innings limit for this year. He's already setting a career high when it comes to innings. So I think for the Dodgers, they're a perfect team to where you could bring him in multi-inning stints out of the bullpen, which that's something he's already used to. So I think for the Dodgers, I think he just kind of fits well there. Even if you need him to, open up a game in the postseason or whatever it may be, something like that. I think he fits for the Dodgers really well. We've known that they are looking for a bat. We were hearing more along the lines a little while ago, looking for more of like a bottom of the order kind of a bat. But Luis Robert, you put him into the middle of the order, guys are going to go down into the lineup. So I think that helps take pressure off there. So now the what people I've been, saying, and we've seen this over the years as well. Well, usually want to trade guys separately to try to maximize the value. Well, I talked about this in my last video that I posted this weekend. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But I talked about where with those two, there's some nuances there to where you could put them in a package together, because if you keep them separate, well, they both have something that's limiting them, right? You got Luis Robert, the injury track record, Garrett Crochet with the innings limit. So I feel like if you put them together and, you combine what they, the positives with those two, I think that actually can end up helping you get a pretty big package overall. And then you even throw in someone like a Michael Kopech, the Dodgers. I mean, look what they did with Ryan Brazier, Red Sox legend, not too long ago. They turned that guy's career around after he couldn't get it together with the Red Sox. Imagine what they could do with maybe someone like Michael Kopech. I'm just saying, like the blockbuster trade lover in me, maybe I'm hyping it up a little bit. Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. But honestly, I don't think it's impossible for that kind of a deal to get done with the Dodgers and the White Sox. The Dodgers have the capital. Now, I think the big thing is, how far would the Dodgers be willing to go? I honestly do think it would take either Dalton Rushing or a Jose DePaula and Bobby Miller. I would think if you're only going to give up one of those prospects, I would think Bobby Miller would have to be the other piece. Or maybe they just do Dalton Rushing and Jose DePaula in the same package. Now, again, there's a bunch of different ways you could go there. I wonder if the Dodgers would be willing to do Bobby Miller. I've seen other Dodger people out there talk about it. Maybe. We'll see. Either way, the White Sox, they're sitting pretty, because this is I would say that it's a decent market this year, but it's not, the Ohtani market that we had last year. Remember, we were all hoping and praying we could see a deal, and that didn't happen. So it's not to that level. But I think the White Sox, it is a bit of a thinner market, and I think they're sitting pretty, and they're just waiting for a team to just unload some prospects for them. And yeah, and then you also get the you also get the Yankees coming up with the White Sox in the news. There are some talks about Garrett Crochet there. When it comes to the Yankees, the one thing with the Yankees, the one limiting factor with them when it comes to giving up prospects has been Spencer Jones. But according to Bob Nightingale, there is now possibly a willingness to maybe part with a Spencer Jones. He's not having an amazing year down to the minor leagues, but there is upside with him, power upside. He's been, called the left-handed Aaron Judge. So, that could be something, but according to Bob Nightingale as well, the White Sox are looking to hold out for more, which they should do. I mean, I think they should wait as long as possible. I don't think they want to wait too long because I think teams out there could be, thinking, you know what, we're not going to go crazy for a Garrett Crochet, right? We're not going to go crazy for a Luis Robert. Maybe we'll go a little crazy, but we're not going to, just go absolutely nuts, right? So I think the White Sox, they shouldn't be too silly about it, but I think they should hold out, right? It's obviously only the 21st. I mean, there's definitely time, but the Yankees could get interesting in this situation, too. Eric Fetty has popped up as well. According to reports, you got the Cardinals possibly showing some strong interest in Eric Fetty. So, hey, talk of the town right now. We got the White Sox all over the place. So let's see what ends up happening. I'm sure we're going to get more news this coming week. Be on the lookout. Make sure the notification bell is turned on because we will be kicking up the live streams for the next 9 days or whatever it is until the deadline, where we're reacting to news and rumors. So look out for those live shows. So let's get to it here. Let's move on. Number 29, we got the Angels. Not too much going on with the Angels. They're going to be active at the deadline. They got some pieces there. You got a Taylor Ward. You got a Carlos Estevez. You got Tyler Anderson. Their names are definitely going to come up. I definitely think you're going to see the bigger names, right? Probably, who knows how it all unfolds, right? But the Angels, they do got some pieces, just not as big as, the Crochets and whatnot. But I think Estevez, he's definitely going to be a popular name. Look out for him. I think Taylor Ward is definitely a guy. I think he will be on the move. I think that's just a good right-handed bat for a team to add. He's hit lefties really well this year. Teams, hey, they love to maximize those platoons if they can. But Ward is a guy that you can put out in left field, and he can go out there and handle himself every day. But he definitely fits a bit more, at least this year, that left-handed pitching platoon profile. So we'll see. However, Mike Trout going on a rehab assignment this week. Great news. It seemed like a few weeks ago we didn't know when we were going to see Mike Trout, and here we go. He's on a rehab assignment. No, he's not going to get traded. So who knows? Maybe next year. Maybe the offseason. I don't know. We'll see. But also, they signed their first-round pick, Christian Moore, to an underslot deal. Exactly what I thought would happen. And, hey, I actually think the Angels had themselves a pretty decent draft overall. I just hope they let these guys develop a little bit down in the minor leagues. But on to number 28, we got the Rockies. And as for the trade deadline, no, Ryan McMahon is not going anywhere. He has already said he has been informed that he will not be on the move. I was telling everyone this. Everyone was going crazy about Ryan McMahon at one point. The Yankee fans out there were dreaming of Ryan McMahon, and I'm like, you're going to have to eat some of that contract, man. Like, I know he's having a pretty decent year, but, the track record of the last couple of years, that's something to look to. And, he is on a longer contract. So I didn't see Ryan McMahon getting moved, and that has now been confirmed. As for the draft, they also signed their first pick, Charlie Condon, the number 3 overall pick. And according a bit of breaking news, Jeff Passan just retweeted Kylie McDaniel's tweet. The Braves are calling up Nacho Alvarez. We'll get to Ozzie Albies in just a little bit. Terrible story there. But they are calling up one of their top prospects, Nacho Alvarez. He's been hitting really well in AAA. Good move for the Braves. We'll talk about them in the coming hour. But yeah, I just literally tweeted this not too long ago. I said they need to call this guy up. All right. I mean, after what happened with Albies here, it's a no-brainer. Nacho needed to get the call, and it looks like that is happening. So get excited for Nacho Mania in Atlanta. But back to the Rockies. Charlie Condon and the Rockies, they're the third overall pick, have come to terms on a slightly above overslot deal, a little bit above $9 million. I'm excited for the Rockies in the coming years, man. You know, I am. I think there's a lot of potential with the bats here in Colorado. I'm excited to see what they can do here. But as for the trade deadline, right, you know, Ryan McMahon, he's not going to be going anywhere. You know, look out for Cal Quantrill. I don't think he's going to be too expensive. FIP is higher than that ERA. The ERA is outpacing the advanced metrics a little bit, but that's a guy that can get some ground balls. I'd like to see Cal Quantrill go to a team with a good infield defense. You know, I could even see a team like, you know, even like the Brewers. I could see them making a low-key move like that. We'll see. But there's definitely going to be a home out there for Cal Quantrill, someone like a Justin Lawrence for the bullpen. Brendan Rodgers, I also say maybe keep an eye out for him, possibly. If a team is in need of a middle infielder, I could maybe see Brendan Rodgers. He's got one more year of control. We'll see. We'll see. But up next, we got the Marlins. I thought the Marlins were going to be, you know, the hottest team at the deadline coming into the year, but hey, Jesus Luzardo, he's down and out for the count. Who knows when he's coming back? And hey, it is what it is. But they do got one guy. By the name of Jazz Chisholm. Man, oh man, had a lot of people coming at me, man, in the last video that I made where I did a mock trade of Jazz Chisholm to the Pirates, where I had a trade of Tamar Johnson, I had Braxton Ashcraft, and I can't remember the other piece. I think the number 12 prospect in there as well. Oh, yeah, and Jack Sawinski. I'm going to tell you all this right now. I need you to hear what I got to say about Jazz Chisholm, right? Well, first off, the rumor mill, the Pirates have had exploratory talks with the Marlins about Jazz Chisholm. You've also seen him connected with the Yankees, the Royals, and the Mariners. So, and CRAS951, you are open to that opinion. Remember, my trades, anytime I post a trade, it is always just really a starting point, right? So that's why I'm very big on just having conversation, right? I don't think it's very productive to just, you know, it's not doing anything for anyone if people are just bashing something. It's like, well, give me your ideas. That's what I want. Anytime I post stuff for trades, I just want to hear what your ideas are. But when it comes to Jazz Chisholm, I think we need to get something a bit understood. I do think there is a little bit of the overrated factor with Jazz Chisholm that I think, at least it's just my opinion, where I think a lot of people, they have just come to terms that Jazz Chisholm is just not that great of a player. And, hey, people are right to think that, right? Where he's had the injury history in the past, right? He's had trouble staying on the field. But you have to remember here with Jazz, right? And this is where the economics come into play in a big way. You know, remember, doing trades, you know, real-life trades, it's not MLB The Show. It's just not at the end of the day. So there's a lot of the economics that come into play with Jazz Chisholm, and I want everyone to be on the lookout for that come trade deadline, right? So you have to remember, when it comes to wins above replacement, right, I'm big with Fangraph wins above replacement. Each win on average is $8 million, right? So if you're a 2-win player, that's worth about $16 million, right? Jazz Chisholm, he's on pace to go for about a 2.5 Fangraph wins above replacement. He's already at about like 1.5 as of right now. So you're looking at about another $8 million projected worth of value for this year with Jazz Chisholm. But then you also have 2 more seasons of control with Jazz Chisholm, right? He's going into his prime years. You also have to remember with Jazz, he is 26 years old. He is young. He's going into his age 27 and 28 years over the next 2 seasons. Those are your prime years. So Jazz, he is projected to get a bump when it comes to his wins above replacement over the next couple of seasons. So next year, I think it's about $2.5 million projected, and then I think the year after, you're looking at around a $3 million. So you're looking at a lot of value right there, but then you also have to consider the fact he's cheap. He's making, what, $2.5 million this year? And then next year, he'll get a bump, probably up to like $3.5, $4 million, and then he'll get a bump again, probably around like $6 million or so. He is very cheap. And no matter what you might think of Jazz Chisholm as an overrated player or whatever, MLB The Show guy, no, he's not the superstar that I think a lot of people have made him out to be. But he's a guy that's going to give you production, right? He's going to hit for power. He's going to hit for stolen bases. So I just want everyone to just remember that with Jazz. It is going to cost something for Jazz Chisholm at the end of the day. And it's going to cost, like if you're the Pirates, you might have to give up Tamar Johnson. Like that is a realistic piece. You can disagree with me if you want, but if you're looking at what you would have to give up in terms of value, you're going to have to give up something pretty decent for Jazz. So again, you can disagree, but I'm just talking facts, right? It's not my opinion. I'm just talking facts here. It is what it is. So Jazz Chisholm, going to be a pretty decent market. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'd like the Pirates. I think that would be a good fit. We'll get to them in just a little bit here, but I think that could be a nice bat to add. Maybe you can do a swap, right? Jack Sawinski can go back to Miami with a couple of prospects there, and I think that could be pretty decent there, right? Could be fun. The Yankees, I think, are interesting. We'll see. And you got the Royals and the Mariners involved in there too. Maybe another team could pop up. We'll see. But I think Jazz, that's going to be an interesting market. So, number 26, we got the Oakland A's. Really the only thing on the market for the A's at this point, Brent Rooker. That's the hot name as of right now. There's a bunch of different places Brent Rooker can go to. Listen, I am on the bandwagon now. I think the Braves, man, I think they got to go make a move, right? You just lost Albies. He's probably going to be missing at least a couple of months. I think you need to go get a bat, man. And listen, I know you're going to get Ronald Acuna Jr. back next year at some point. I get your Michael Harris is going to come back. I think you just need to worry, because I've seen people say, well, next year's team, where's he going to fit? I say figure that out when you get there. At this point, the Braves, they already needed a bat, and now you just lost Albies. I'm sorry. I think, figure out the logjam when you get there at this point, but I think the Braves are, right now, at least to me, a prime candidate. This is just my opinion. I'm not reporting anything that I've seen. I think they're a prime candidate to go after Brent Rooker at this point. That would be a great home. There's a bunch of places Brent Rooker can go, right? Any team really that's looking for a bat that can fit him in either the DH or a corner outfield spot. As for Mason Miller, his name has been coming up a little bit. John Heyman reported not too long ago that the Orioles are interested in Mason Miller. I think for Mason Miller with the Orioles, I feel like he's a plan C. I think for the Orioles, we'll talk Tigers in a little bit here in the coming hour, but I think Skubal would be at the top of the Orioles list at this point. And then I think you turn your attention to Crochet if that's not available. And if the Dodgers, if they're just going to be giving too much for Crochet, where, out of the Orioles' comfort zone, well, let's say the Dodgers are wanting to package those guys together. Well, then the Orioles are like, well, yeah, we're not going to give up that much for these guys. We don't need Luis Robert. So that's where I could see maybe the Orioles turn their attention to Mason Miller. I think he's a fallback kind of a guy. Because to me, if you can't upgrade the rotation with a big name, and you can't get Crochet, who will be probably I would say probably right around the same when it comes to the price as a Mason Miller. But again, if Crochet's packaged with Robert, if that does end up happening, well, then that's kind of out of the question at that point. So that's when you can turn for a Mason Miller. And remember, you can always try him in the rotation next year. We'll see. But I think for the Orioles, I think if you can't upgrade the rotation, right, as much as you want, I say really beef out that bullpen as much as you can. Just put a shutdown guy back there with Kimbrel. That I think would be good. I think if the Orioles could have a deadline where they could acquire a Mason Miller and maybe like a rental kind of a guy for the rotation, I think that's pretty solid, to be honest with you. I think that's solid. We'll see. Number 25, we got the Blue Jays. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've told you all this like a million times at this point, but I have not been high on the Blue Jays really at all this year. I wanted to put the Red Sox ahead of them when it came to my preseason predictions, but, you know, I don't know. I'm telling you all right now, when it comes to preseason predictions, I'm just going with my heart, and I don't even care what people say. I'm just going to go with it. A part of me was like, I'm not high on the Blue Jays, but I'm not, you know, am I dreaming, or is it something I was really, you know, really feeling, right? And, hey, I should have went with it. I should have went with the Blue Jays in a last place spot. I didn't do it, but they're not playing great right now. They're 9.5 out in the wild card race. That's pretty much done at this point. But according to Bob Nightingale, Bo Bichette has told friends that he would welcome a trade. However, is Bo Bichette even going to be healthy at this point? Has another calf injury. I don't even know at this point if a team would even want to trade for him. I've talked maybe the Giants. I know the Dodgers have been a popular spot for Bo. You know, I've seen the Guardians, you know, as a possible landing spot for, you know, people talking. But at this point, I don't know. I don't know. I definitely think he could use a change of scenery at this point. I even saw someone out there say it was like, I don't know, like a phantom IL kind of a thing. I don't know. I don't buy that, but I don't know. Maybe Bichette ends up getting moved, but at this point, I don't know. He's hurt. He hasn't been playing well. I mean, I probably think he ends up staying. However, Nightingale was also saying that Vlad Jr. wants to stay in Toronto. He wants to get an extension. We'll see how that goes. So, moving on. Number 24. We got the Rangers. And, hey, the Rangers, they had a big series this weekend with the Orioles. They lost 2 out of 3, though. They're now 5 games back in the wild card. 5 games back in the division, 7.5 back in the wild card. Ethan Sacco, 5 memberships. You're amazing, my friend. Thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. I mean, really, the Rangers at this point, I still think it's a little early, right? They're 5 back in the division. You're getting guys coming back, right? Jacob deGrom threw a bullpen this past weekend. You're going to be getting Carter, you know, back eventually here. You know, Josh Young is starting to take some swings. You know, we'll see. I don't know, man. I think if you're in this spot at the deadline, that's tough, right? Because you got pieces that you could move that, you know, for the future of the franchise, I think, you know, you should move guys, right? Kirby Yates, Robertson, you know, maybe Nathan Eovaldi. You know, I think you should look into that. You know, I know Scherzer's come out and said, no, we don't plan on selling. You know, we're gonna get ourselves together. But at the end of the day, man, you know, I think it's interesting, right? But not a great weekend for the Rangers overall. I know it's a tough Orioles team, you know, but they really needed to win a couple of those, and they ended up not getting it done. You know, yeah, they pulled it out today, right? Jonah Heim, 3-run home run. But, you know, I don't know, man. Heaney did pitch well today. It just feels a little, you're running out of time in Texas, right? I'm willing to give it a little bit more. You know, you got another week here where you can try and, you know, have yourself a good week. Maybe you're a few games back in the division by the end of the week. We'll see. Ethan has become a member for the 14th straight month. Thank you for that, my friend. You say here, I was itching for some baseball. I hate the break. Yeah, I'm even noticing in the chat tonight where, it's still it's a little under what we're usually, at for our viewership. So I still think people are slowly but surely getting themselves back into baseball. I think for the deadline, you're going to see the energy fully back in. But Rangers at 24. At number 23, we got the Rays. Hey, listen, the Rays have been playing pretty decent lately. They won 2 out of 3 against Cleveland last weekend. They won 2 out of 3 against the Yankees this weekend. I mean, they're 4.5 out in the wild card. They got a few teams they'd have to leapfrog, right? It's not a terrible Rays team. It just doesn't feel the same as they have in recent years, right? Offense is okay. Starting pitching is pretty good this year. Bullpen, not so much. You got a couple of good guys in there. But the latest in the news with the Rays is they will be listening on offers with Isaac Paredes, Randy Rosarena, and I'm going blank. Who was the other one? Rosarena, Paredes. Oh, and Yandy Diaz, right? So, that's kind of how the Rays are, right? They're always thinking of now, but they're always thinking of tomorrow too. So, however, pictures of what the new stadium might look like came out this past week. I thought those looked pretty good. But yeah, look for the Rays. Yeah, they've been playing well. Maybe they end up, winning a few more games here. We'll see. Man, oh man. Gavin Lux having himself a pretty good game today. Here we go. Number 22, we got the Reds winning 2 out of 3 against the Marlins last weekend. And then you got swept by the Nationals this weekend. Kind of a similar situation with Texas at this point, right? You're 4 games back in the wild card race. You're kind of starting to run out of time here if you're the Reds. I would love for them to add a bat. I really would. I would love for them to, try and add to some offense. But they really just had a lot of bad luck, coming into the year, decimated by injuries. You had the Noelvi Marte suspension. You got a bunch of home runs today, right? Marte Fairchild with the homers today. But, I don't know. It just feels like nothing seems to want to get clicking with the Reds. Sure, Ellie De La Cruz has been fun this year. I don't know. I wonder if Jonathan India ends up getting moved. We'll see how that ends up going. But I don't know. Number 21, we got the Nationals, who just swept the Reds. Kind of the same thing. They're also 4 back in the wild card. Sure, James Wood. Did Gavin Lux just get caught? Oh, no, Gavin Lux stole. Sorry, I got the Dodgers-Red Sox game on right now. But, for the Nationals, kind of but with the Nationals, right, they were kind of ahead of expectations for this year, right? They were pretty fun. They were doing some things. They were, playing some pretty good baseball. I just don't know if they're fully there. I just don't fully know. John Morosi, recent tweet about the Reds, Conman752. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much. What do we got here? Morosi. What is John Morosi saying? Okay, awesome. Okay, this was 30 minutes ago. Sources, the Reds swept by the Great timing, by the way, Con Man. This is amazing. The Reds swept by the Nationals this weekend are indicating to teams that they are willing to move players on expiring contracts. The Orioles are among the clubs with interest in their pitching, including Frankie Montas and Nick Martinez. I mean, that could definitely be interesting. That could open up some possibilities. Frankie Montas, funny enough, remember a couple of years ago, he was one of the top pieces on the trade market. And let me actually pull this up here. Let's go share the screen, shall we? Here we go. So if we're taking a look at some players that are on expiring contracts, right? You got Frankie Montas, he's got the mutual option, right? That's probably not going to get exercised. But Frankie Montas is having himself a decent year. Taking a look. He was having a decent year, but he's had some bumps, right? That FIP is in the 5s. ERA is near a 5. What the heck happened to Frankie Montas? He was pretty good in the beginning. Let's go to the game log, shall we? I mean, yeah, he's really ran into some trouble. He had a terrible start against the Nationals this past weekend, 7 earned. He had 5 earned against Colorado in his last start, but he had some decent starts there, right? The last 2 starts have really inflated his ERA and his FIP. So, I don't know. I think teams probably see Montas being more in this kind of. Oh, what just happened there? Okay, but but when you also think about it with Montas too, this is a guy that's missed a lot of time, right? He only threw 1 inning last year, and even the year before that, he didn't even break 150 innings. So. I'm wondering if maybe there's some fatigue setting in with Montas a little bit. I would say he's probably the, wow, what is happening here? Jason Hayward has left the yard. What is going on with Kenley Jansen lately, man? Kenley Jansen, man. But yeah, Frankie Montas, I would say he is pretty much a fallback option at this point. Yeah, Nick Martinez, definitely think about him. He's got a player option, so that's something. But, Nick Martinez having a player option at $12 million, I don't think that's terrible, right? He's got an ERA at 3.88. He's got a FIP at 3.15. He's not walking anyone this year. He's not giving up any home runs really at all this year. So, yeah, I think Nick Martinez is an interesting piece to keep an eye out for. You do have someone like an Emilio Pagan here where he's okay. He could be a middle reliever, for a team's bullpen out there. I don't know. I still think Jonathan India could end up being a piece. He's been really hot for the last, month or so. So, maybe, I don't know. I would say that's pretty much it at this point. But look out for the Reds. So, hey, Con Man, I appreciate that, my friend. I did not catch that tweet. So, moving on. Let's get back to it, shall we? But for the Nationals, for them, I mean, your big pieces there. I mean, you got Finnegan, right? That's definitely going to be a piece for a team out there. Jesse Winker, I definitely think he's going to be a piece that ends up getting moved. I just think for the Nationals, yeah, they're not exactly out of it by any means, but I don't know. It just feels. Well, actually, they're 5 out now. I'm sorry, they're 5 games back. I thought it was 4 games back. So yeah, the Nationals, they're going to move. They're going to move some pieces. We got a super chat coming in. Harrison Witz, 99 with the $2. The Red Sox season is over. Nah, they're just running into a good Dodgers team that needed to play well coming out of the gates. That's the way I see it. For me. But, hey, remember the Red Sox? They came out of the gates last year in the second half, not looking too great. The Red Sox have a tough schedule coming up here. Very tough schedule. So let's see if they can get this together. Unfortunately, you're running into the Dodgers that needed to play well coming out of the stretch. So we'll see. Everyone, if you can, while I'm getting to the next tier, if you can hit that like button for me, hit that subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification, share the show if you can. Here we go. Let's get to the next tier. Alrighty. Getting number 20. We're going to start off with the Cubs, right? Let's get to the Cubs here. Man, what I don't know what to think of this Cubs team, right? Looking at the Cubs, where they're at in the standings, they're 3.5 out in this National League wildcard race. They're not out of it by any means. I mean, yeah, it doesn't look great. They're 5 games under 500 here. I don't know. It's very interesting. This is a team that I think you need to wait another week or so. Imanaga was so good today. What a year he's having. I see you in the chat, Johnny Berman. Imanaga is absolutely incredible. Yeah, they got guys there in Chicago. They got pieces. They got talent, but they just can't seem to fully get it together. In the news today, when it came to trade rumors, Bob Nightingale says right now the Cubs are undecided, which they should be, right? They're 3.5 out with talent, so they could definitely get this together. But Jamison Tyone has been coming up a little bit. The Red Sox have been showing interest in him, and the Yankees have also shown some interest in their former guy. But I think right now, with the Cubs, you just got to wait here. You know, if we're taking a look at the schedule coming up for them, so again, like I said, you know, you got the extra inning win today. Imanaga was fantastic, but you got a tough matchup with the Brewers coming up this week, and then you got the Royals next weekend on the road, and then you got the Reds after that. So, you know, you got to give it a week, right? You gotta wait a little bit for the Cubbies, but that's pretty much all there is right now when it comes to the Cubs. You know, they got to get this offense fully going. This team can pitch out of the rotation. They got guys in this rotation that can definitely get the job done. But I think the bullpen is pretty weak at this point. The offense just doesn't want to get clicking here. I don't know what to think, you know, about this Cubs team right now. We'll see. But moving on here, we got the San Francisco Giants at number 19. Got the Giants at number 19, losing 2 out of 3 to the Colorado Rockies this weekend. You know, they won 2 out of 3 last weekend before the break, and they just came out cold. You know, they're a few games back in this wild card race. Let me just double check. 3 games back in the wild card race as of right now. The offense ranks 13th overall. They slumped this past weekend. They only scored 9 runs over the whole weekend. You know, Jorge Soler had the massive home run, right? But the offense, I don't know. It feels like it really lacks something there. I'm not sure what to really think with that Giants offense. I don't know. I feel like they're not really going to do all that much if they end up buying. You know, for the rotation, you're going to be getting Robbie Ray back. I believe he just had a rehab start this past weekend. So you should be seeing him pretty soon. Hayden Birdsong, give it up for him, man. He had himself a really good start today. 6 innings, 12 strikeouts. So I think the Giants are a pretty good team. It's just a matter of they just kind of got to put it together a little bit. I'm very intrigued with the Giants in the second half. Let's get healthy for this Giants team. Let's get some guys back. Let's get some more of this pitching back. You know, hopefully Blake Snell has a good second half. I'm sure he's going to be pretty motivated to have himself a good second half. We'll see. But, you know, the Giants, I think you got to, again, just like some of these other teams, you got to wait and see a little bit, right? Number 18, hey, Pirates, they've been a fun team lately. Pittsburgh Pirates, they swept the White Sox last weekend. And, well, just missed leaving the yard. That would have made things a little interesting here. But it's 9-5. Maybe the Red Sox can do something. Jarren Duran, man, this guy's as red hot as you can be. But for the Pirates, winning 2 out of 3 against the Phillies this weekend. The offense is the main problem with this team, but hey, you know, this offense, they've been hitting a little bit lately. Nick Gonzalez had the walk-off hit on Friday, but I feel like they need a bat. I do think Jazz Chisholm would be really nice for that lineup. You know, something in center field I think would make a lot of sense. We will see. Tyler O'Neill is coming up here. Tyler O'Neill. Let's see if he can do something. But starting pitching, hey, this team can pitch, right? Luis Ortiz adding to the pitching, right? It's not just Paul Skeens and Mitch Keller, right? Luis Ortiz, 7 shutout innings this past weekend. Good bullpen. I really want the Pirates to add a bat. Really need them to add a bat, man. Let's see. Number 17, we got the Detroit Tigers. Very interesting team right now. They have been playing pretty well lately. They won 2 out of 3 last weekend against the Dodgers. Won 2 out of 3 this weekend against the Blue Jays. They are second in starting pitching on the year. But the offense is only 22nd overall, and the bullpen is 18th overall. They are 5.5 back in the wild card race. They have... Again, they are kind of in that category right now. It's a big gray area for this Tigers team right now. Like, they're 5.5 back. I don't know, right? If they gain a couple of games this week or this coming week, I think you end up seeing them not selling. I don't know. You got a big series against Cleveland coming up this week. You got Minnesota next weekend. That's a tough schedule. Very tough schedule. If they buy I will try to talk some positivity here. If the Tigers end up buying, listen, I know I've talked Brent Rooker. I said it a little earlier for the Braves. I would love for the Tigers to add a bat like him. They need a bat like him, right? I think they should be very motivated if they were to buy to go get a impact bat, right? I think that would be awesome if they could do something like that. Could somehow, some way, even Jazz Chisholm maybe be a fit if they were to buy. Again, if they buy. However, they've been in the news when it comes to selling, and Tarek Skubal has been the big name. Bob Nightingale today confirmed that there have been talks with the Dodgers and the Orioles for Tarek Skubal. Says they are listening. They're not fully decided at this point yet, but it is getting to the point now. It is getting to the point. Listen, if you're out of it, I know, you could definitely, make the case. Well, no, you keep Tarek Skubal, you go for it again next year. But with what you could get for Skubal, combined with the motivation of two teams that really want to add, and not just two teams that want to add, two teams that have big time prospects, right? It's a perfect storm, right? Because let's say this, let's throw this scenario out there. Let's say the Tigers, right, they're, in a position to sell Skubal on the market. But let's say teams that were trying to go after him maybe didn't have the capital really to give up what was needed for Skubal. But you got two teams that can afford him. And you got two teams that can meet that heavy asking price. I think that's like a once in a, I don't know, man, how many, like a decade kind of a chance. And if you're the Tigers and if you're 4 or 5 games out, 6 out, I think you got to do it, right? If the Orioles are willing to give up, say, a Kobe Mayo or a Samuel Basayo, if you have a chance to get an impact bat for your organization, I think you should do it, right? Because, and another reason for that is because the Tigers have shown they're doing pretty well in the pitching department, right? They have developed guys. You got Jackson Jobe down in the minor leagues who's coming on strong, who is pitching really well. So you have someone coming up the pipe here eventually, right? I think you got to do it, right? I will say this. I wonder. I think I mentioned this in the show the other night. I find it really interesting that Jackson Holliday's name is coming up a lot lately. I find that interesting, right? You had a beat reporter out there said that there were talks at one point of Jackson Holliday for Jared Jones, that there was a conversation or something like that. I find it interesting, and I'm starting to see Holliday's name pop up with other reporters out there. I don't know if they're just trying to, put it into existence. I don't know. I will say this. If you have a chance to get Skubal, if you're the Baltimore Orioles, if you did do a deal revolving around Jackson Holliday, you wouldn't have to give up much else at that point. Those two values are very similar. Skubal's value is so high right now, with Jackson Holliday being the number 1 prospect in Major League Baseball. Yeah, like his is also very high. So you might be able to get away with doing Jackson Holliday and maybe, Cade Povich. I don't think that's completely out of the question. I think you could maybe pull that off, right? Maybe you could do a Holiday and a Povich and one more smaller piece, right? Someone in the 20 to 30 range. I wouldn't be surprised, right? Because I think if you're the Orioles and if you had a chance to get Skubal, I think if you're Baltimore and if you had to move on from Jackson Holliday, I don't know. I think you will survive as an organization. I know that would be wow, we just gave up the number 1 prospect in Major League Baseball. I mean, I still think you would survive, right? You still got so many good players there, right? And you even have someone like Connor Norby who ends up just being your second baseman, right? I'm not saying Connor Norby is Jackson Holiday, but at least you have someone like him, right? You know, you already got Henderson. You got Westberg. You have an infield, right? I don't know. Bases are loaded here for the Red Sox. They're making noise. Let's go. We need one swing to tie this thing, please. We need this. Anyway, I'm really getting carried away right now with Tarek Skubal. I'm gonna say it. It's gonna be interesting. I think the Orioles, at the end of the day, I think they're the most motivated. They should be the most motivated to get a deal done for him, because you also have to remember this too. Corbin Burns is going to be a free agent. You need someone for that rotation next year. Are the Orioles going to pay the money for Corbin Burns? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do it, right? Something to think about, right? Moving on, we got the New York Mets at number 16. Down weekend for the Mets, man, coming out of the All-Star break, and a downer, right? Losing 2 out of 3 to the Marlins. Really good offense this year with the Mets. Great offense, but they need some pitching here. As of right now, when it comes to the New York Mets, they are right there in the wild card picture. They are in the 3rd wild card spot. They are tied with the D-backs and the Padres. I think at this point, I think you got to add. I think you have to add if you're the Mets. You know, if you were to maybe get creative, maybe you could end up selling off a piece. You know, maybe you could sell off a bat and try to add some pitching. I'm not sure exactly how you do that, but that's something I could maybe see Stearns doing. If there's a way to add some prospects while also helping out your major league team, I think that's possible. But I do think they need to add some pitching. I think something for the bullpen and or rotation would be nice. I think you could see a situation where if you add something for the rotation, that could bump someone there to the bullpen. All right, and you can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone there. Or maybe you could just go for a Carlos Estevez, put him at the back end of the bullpen. He'd just be a rental. We'll see. You know, I could maybe see Fetty or someone like a Zach Little or Zach Littell, sorry. And I think for the Mets, that could be... I think they're an interesting team at the deadline, because we know this team can hit. They just got to pitch. I'm just saying. Speaking of a team that can, well, no, that's not the same thing. Let's go to a team that's the opposite. This team can pitch, but they can't hit. We got the Mariners. Tough times in Seattle right now. Tough times. Losing 3 out of 4 to the Angels last weekend. Losing 2 out of 3 to the Astros this weekend. They did salvage the series today. They did pick up a win. But they are now tied for the AL West. The Astros have come all the way back. And yes, I will say right now, I'm feeling the Astros a little bit more at number 14. I'm just feeling a little bit more. And of course, Yoshida. Whew. Unbelievable, man. Yoshida, thank goodness for a little bit of speed that he had. But for the Mariners, they're now tied in the AL West for first place, right? The offense continues to struggle. And unfortunately, Julio Rodriguez with a bit of an ankle injury today. He made an amazing catch, right? Did a bit of a Griffey-style catch. The ankle got a bit of damage, right? A bit of an ankle sprain there. He should be okay. It didn't look great when it happened, but it seems like it's going to be all right. But Ty France has been put on waivers. I find that interesting. I think there might be a team that could end up picking him up. I wouldn't be surprised if my Red Sox picked him up, to be completely honest. A right-handed bat that can play first base, Tristan Casas, who knows when he comes back. So you might see a situation where maybe the Red Sox, where you got Dom Smith as the lefty and you go Ty France as the righty. I could see that. So we'll see. But right now, I mean, the Mariners, their focus should be adding a bat, and that seems to be what Dipoto is going to be focusing on the most at the deadline. Jorge Polanco, he's been really, really bad so far for the Mariners, right? He has not been a good pickup for them so far. He did homer today. We will see. And there's the ball game. Willie Abreu pops it up. Man, oh man. Tough loss to the Red Sox here today. Tough loss. But Jorge Polanco, let's see. Maybe he can start getting it going here. But this whole offense needs to get it going. J-Rod, Mitch Garver, they have shown in their careers they can hit better in the second half. We'll see if they can get this turned on, but I do think they need to add a bat. I will point out an interesting scenario that I came up with a little bit in my head today, right? If the Cubs were to end up selling, let's say the Cubs maybe did a bit of a retool a little bit. They moved a couple of pieces. I wonder, maybe you could see a situation where maybe Nico Hoerner could be on the move, right? They got a couple of guys there in Chicago that could end up getting called up in the next, year, right? Someone like a Matt Shaw, you got Triantos there. So I wonder if someone like Nico Hoerner could be available, right? Where a team like Seattle, a team that could really use like a high contact hitter that doesn't strike out too much. I think Nico Hoerner could end up being a good fit. I'm not sure what you do with Polanco at that point. Maybe Polanco, he has played third before. Maybe you can move Polanco to third. I know you got Rojas, but, I don't know. Maybe you figure it out. Maybe Hoerner could end up being a piece there, bring a bit of a spark to that lineup. I came up with a three-way trade today. I came up with Hoerner going to the Mariners. I had Jameson Taillon going to the Red Sox, and then going back to the Cubs, sorry. I think I did Harry Ford, and I think I did one of their pitching prospects. I'm going blank on the name. But, I wonder if that could end up being something. I think the Mariners, they'll add some kind of a bat that doesn't strike out all that much. A bat that makes a lot of contact. I think that's what the Mariners will end up doing. So, we'll see. But it's getting interesting real quick in this AL West. And we got the Astros at number 14. Like I said, winning their series against the Mariners this weekend. Offense continues to be solid. Yordan Alvarez going for the cycle today. Man, oh man, that guy is just a monster. Starting pitching, much improved since the beginning of June. 14th overall in starting pitching since June 1st. Framber Valdez was solid against the Mariners this past weekend. 5 2/3, 2 earned. Hunter Brown, he has really turned his season around. I called him a disappointment earlier on in the year. And, hey, I don't know if he watched the video. I don't know, but he's looked great ever since then. He had 6 shutout innings against the Mariners this weekend. But for the Astros, I think they need to upgrade this rotation a little bit. I think they need a piece. I think someone like Eric Fetty could be pretty nice for them. Some kind of a rental, someone that's not going to be too expensive. I think Fetty will cost you a little bit because he has another year of control for next year. So let's see on that. But I think they need something for this rotation, right? They've had a lot of injuries there. I know Lance McCullers Jr. is going to be coming back, but I could see a depth guy for the Astros. And I think a first baseman, right? I think Yandy Diaz would be perfect for the Astros. I think that'd be a really nice move. A guy that's been really picking it up. I think he did just go on the restricted list. I think there was some kind of a family issue. I hope everything is okay there. But I think he would be a really nice bat. Maybe even someone like Josh Bell, right? I know he's not been great this year. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I would think they're probably better off with what they have already. You got Singleton there, right? So I think Josh Bell probably doesn't happen. But I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Number 13, we got the San Diego Padres, and hey, good weekend for them, winning 2 out of 3 against the Guardians this weekend. 8th in offense on the year, one of the better offenses in baseball. Cronenworth, Luis Ariz, they've been hitting well lately. Starting pitching, man, Dylan Cease looked fantastic against Cleveland this weekend. 7 innings, shutout ball, 10 Ks. Gotta love what Dylan Cease is doing, but according to Bob Nightingale, the Padres, I mean, we don't need to know we don't need to hear it from Bob Nightingale. We already know the Padres are going to be aggressive, but that's what Nightingale is reporting. Going to be looking for pitching, right? They've been in on that Crochet market. We'll see. I don't think they have enough for Crochet, to be completely honest. I think other teams are going to be able to outbid the Padres. I think the Padres can make a bid. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. I wonder if they could be in the market for maybe someone like Tanner Scott. I could see something like that. I feel like that's a team that hasn't been mentioned with him, but I could see that personally. They've already made a deal with the Marlins this year for Luis Ariz, so I could think maybe they come back together there. Maybe Michael Kopech, who hasn't been amazing, but, that could be someone. I think for the rotation, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Jack Flaherty there, California native. I could see them maybe going for that. And then you got someone, Tyler Anderson, not too far away. I could see the Padres, Yu Darvish, he's on the restricted list right now. I think he's also having a bit of a family thing. I hope everything's all right there. But Joe Musgrove, he's had some injury problems this year. So I think they're going to have to add something for this rotation. I think something like that could make some sense. So, number 12. We got the Diamondbacks. How about the Diamondbacks? They're coming on strong lately, man. Winning 2 out of 3 last weekend against the Blue Jays. Winning 2 out of 3 against the Cubs this weekend. They have a top 10 offense. 9th in offense overall. Ketel Marte, I think he's probably the most underrated player in baseball this year. He is very hot lately. He has a 983 OPS in the last 7 games. He's having a very underrated season, man. Go check out the numbers with Ketel Marte. Looks so good. Gabriel Moreno, Alec Thomas, they've been hitting pretty well lately. When it comes to the starting pitching, Brandon Pfaadt, he was really good. 7 shutout this past weekend. Bullpen, though, I think, you gotta add something like middle relief for this bullpen. I think they need a little something there in the middle. We'll see. Maybe someone like a Tanner Banks, right, from the White Sox. I could maybe see something like that. But I think for the Diamondbacks, I think their big thing that they're looking for is to just get guys back from injury, right? Eduardo Rodriguez, we haven't seen him at all this year, right? He's going to be coming back. He threw a bullpen this past weekend. You got Merrill Kelly. He's starting to make his way back. He's going to be throwing some bullpens here coming up. And Jordan Montgomery, I know it's been a bust of a year so far for him, but hey, here are the D-backs, right? You got the D-backs. They're tied for the 3rd wild card spot. And if you can get Montgomery just right for the second half, you get Erod back and he pitches okay. Merrill Kelly. I mean, those are trade deadline acquisitions basically, right? So I think for the D-backs, I'm not going to expect a big deadline for them. I could maybe see some smaller moves, but I think they're just waiting for these guys to come back. At number 11, I had a pretty tough time with number 11, number 10, and number 9, especially now that my Red Sox have been swept. That makes it difficult. For now, I'm going to keep it like this for now. I'm going to stick with the Cardinals at number 11. All right, gonna stick with the Cardinals at number 11. I know, Ethan Sacco, man. I know. I might be breaking your heart here. I'm sorry, my friend. All right, we got John Mozeliak in the chat right now. Got John Mozeliak. He's probably just very disappointed here. I'm just saying. I'm not ready to put the Cardinals top 10 just yet. I don't agree. Hurricane Truth. I don't think, no, I got to disagree with you. This is a good Cardinals team. I'm just not fully ready yet for the Cardinals in the top 10. I see you. Jay Snow. I see you. Burleson is him. He's having a good year. All right. I see you in the chat. Cuddy Fox. Cardinals should be higher. They just destroyed the Braves for the last 2 games. I know. I'm very close, right? Because the Cardinals, I know Tommy S. Cardinals just won a series. I know. I'm not fully there yet because here's the thing with the Cardinals, right? Because remember, it's not just about, yes, obviously winning games is definitely important, right? But I don't just go by the wins and the losses. I go by where they rank offensively. I go by where they rank with the starting pitching and the bullpen. Offensively, they're 16th overall. All right, so they're pretty middle of the road when it comes to the offense. When it comes to the starting pitching, they're 17th overall. The bullpen is good, though. I do like the bullpen. I'm not saying I don't like the offense or the rotation, but I'm just saying out of the three, I really like this bullpen. They're 10th overall. They are pitching well there. Helsley, he's been just huge, right? But starting pitching does rank 17th overall in Fangraph wins above replacement. And I think that's pretty evident because you see in the news that they're trying to add maybe someone like Eric Fetty, who they, quote, have strong interest in. So they are trying to make an upgrade there. Yeah, so I do like a lot of this Cardinals team. I do. But when I'm looking at where they rank offensively and with the starting pitching, I'm just not fully there yet with the Cardinals. Just yet. They're very close. They're very close for me. They're knocking on the door. This is my number, one spot, when it comes to knocking on the door here, right? They're primed to get into the top 10. I'm just waiting for a little bit more when it comes to the rankings, right? However, they've been playing great. They won 2 out of 3 against the Braves this past weekend. And they are not just showing interest in Eric Fetty. They've been connected with Nathan Eovaldi and Zach Eflin. I think they need to make an upgrade in this rotation, right? Obviously, you got the veteran guys, that came in. They've been a big boost for the Cardinals rotation this year, which is exactly what I thought it would be. I was telling a lot of people, Kyle Gibson, Lance Lynn. Yeah, are they sexy names? No, but I came into the year where a lot of other channels out there were thinking these moves stink. These are terrible moves. But I'm like, no, I kind of like them, right? These are guys that are going to give you innings, right? They get Lance Lynn. I thought that was going to be a good reunion for him to go back to St. Louis. Kyle Gibson, I've always thought he's a pretty steady guy. I liked those, and these have been 2 veteran guys that have helped out this Cardinals rotation. Sonny Gray, obviously, I thought was really good. So, Michaelis, he had a good start this past weekend, right? Michaelis went 6 innings, 2 earned today. Good start for him. But I think they need to add something here. I'm not sure what that is, right? I think if you could add, let's say Zach Eflin. Let's say Zach Eflin. I think that would be really good. If you go into the postseason, if you're in the wild card round and you got Sonny Gray, Zach Eflin, and then you either Lance Lynn or a Kyle Gibson for Game 3, I think that's pretty good, right? So I think they need one more piece in this rotation. Bullpen, I like this bullpen. This bullpen's been so good. Ryan Helsley is just dominating this year. Kittredge has been a nice pickup. JoJo Romero's been really good here. I could see them adding maybe something for middle relief in this. But I think for me, the offense, though, yes, I'm loving what Burleson's doing lately. This guy's red hot. Wilson Contreras has been hitting really well lately. He homered today. Goldschmidt, Burleson, like I said, is playing well. New Bar, they homered today. I'm liking what the Cardinals are doing. I might be upsetting some people here, but I just want to see a little bit more. If they have one more good week, I'm pretty sure the Cardinals are going to be in my top 10 for next week. But they're very close. They're very close. So, that's all I got on the Cardinals. Let me know, Cardinals fans, who would you want to add for this rotation? If you could pick one of the 3, would you rather do Nathan Eovaldi, Zach Eflin, or Eric Fetty? Let me know. I'm very curious to see what Cardinals fans would want. I see a couple Eflins. I see Fetty. I would like Eflin. I think for Nathan Eovaldi has that bit of durability risk a little bit. Carter Reeves, I think Jesus Luzardo would have been amazing if he was healthy. Sarah, Eovaldi or Eflin. Okay. Yeah, I think Fetty needs to go more to like a ground ball, more of a ground ball, defensive team, right? I think the Brewers would be really good for Eric Fetty. We'll see. But I could totally see, Stevos Evo. I see Evaldi, right? I see you guys saying Evaldi as well. I think that would be really cool, man, right? A guy that's just a proven postseason guy. Get the Cardinals there. We know this Cardinals team, this franchise, if they just get into the postseason, you never know. You never know. Let's get to the top 10. Everyone, before I go to the top 10, if you can, hit that like button for me. The goal for tonight was 200. We're at 133 as of right now. So if you can help us get there, I will love you forever. Hit that subscribe button for me. Share the show. Make sure that bell's turned on. Let's get to it. Here we go. Number 10. Actually, did I update this? I just want to make sure I updated it. Okay, I did. So I got the Red Sox at number 10. I had them at number 9 until this past weekend. And, yeah. Let's talk about my Red Sox, shall we? Yeah. Just got swept. This is a good Dodgers team, right? Not playing well lately, the Dodgers. But I was saying, man, hey, Dodgers, they got to play well coming out of the All-Star break, right? They're going to be getting guys back. But I'm not surprised to see the Dodgers come out strong like this. And the Red Sox, they came out a little cold. A very tough weekend for the Red Sox, right? You had a couple of really close games. They had that 1-0 lead on Friday. Freddie Freeman comes in and ruins all your hopes and dreams. Saturday looked really good. You took the lead a couple of times. Tyler O'Neill and his biceps with a couple of home runs, and it looked like you're on your way to victory. And the bullpen couldn't hold it down. You had a couple of really good starts from Nick Pivetta, Brian Bayo, and, the bullpen, which has been really solid this year. They just didn't have it, right? They have had some injuries, right? Chris Martin, Justin Slayton, those guys are out as of right now. So you're having to rely on Greg Weisser, who just has not had it lately. Now, the Red Sox, their philosophy when it comes to the pitching, when you have one really good pitch, lean into that pitch, right? Greg Weisser, his sweeper is his pitch. That thing is not working right now. He's just getting hit. Teams have him figured out like there's no tomorrow, right? So Weisser, that's a tough spot for him. That's every time he comes out now in a close game, it gives me 2018 Craig Kimbrell vibes. I can't have this in my life anymore. I'm just saying. But Red Sox, just a bad start to the second half. It's very evident that this bullpen, they are lacking right now. I think they need to go out and make a trade for this bullpen. I'm not sure what that piece is out there. I would imagine it's probably not going to be someone very expensive. Knowing Craig, he's probably going to make a pretty low-cost addition for the bullpen. I could see him adding something decent for the rotation. I wonder if you see a situation where you could add something for the rotation, and then Cooper Criswell, he could end up being a guy that goes into some spots there later on in the games. We'll see. But, yeah. Bad start for the second half of the Red Sox, right? Nice to see Tyler O'Neill coming out swinging this past weekend. That's good to see. Feel like he hadn't really done all that much as of late. But the Red Sox, right now, they're 11th in offense overall on the year. And right now, their big performer is Jarren Duran, right? Yeah, I'm talking Tyler O'Neill. But Jarren Duran's the star of the show. Another great game for him tonight. Got the MVP in the All-Star game. In the last 30 games, he's hitting .344 with a .960 OPS, 6 home runs, and 7 home runs. He homered again today, and then 7 stolen bases, right? Right now, Jarren Duran, he is 10th overall in Major League Baseball, and Fangraph wins above replacement. He is just amazing. It is crazy how hot this guy is right now. For the Red Sox pitching staff, they're 6th overall in starting pitching and 7th overall in relief pitching. But they clearly need something here. I just think it's not that the rotation is bad, right? They've been getting pretty good starts for the most part, minus a couple of bumps here and there. But I feel like they need to just add depth here, and I think adding something for the rotation, again, could maybe push someone like a Cooper Criswell to the bullpen. Jameson Taillon came up. I mentioned this earlier. If the Cubs were to sell, Jameson Taillon is a guy, according to Bob Nightingale, that is on the Red Sox radar, right? Craig Breslow used to be with the Cubs, and Jameson Taillon fits the mold exactly of what the Red Sox want. They want a guy that throws strikes and a guy that has a go-to pitch that is just that you can just lean into. That pitch has been the cutter for Jameson Taillon this year. One of the best cutters in Major League Baseball on the year. You know, I think he just fits into the mold, right? He's not going to be the flashiest, addition, but I think for the Red Sox, they have that luxury where they can add some payroll a little bit. And because with Jameson Taillon, he has a pretty underwater contract at this point. I could get into all the details here, but I don't want to take too long. But with Jameson Taillon, the Cubs are good chance they would have to eat some of the contract a little bit. But even if they don't, the Red Sox probably won't have to give up too much to acquire him. So I feel like he makes a lot of sense for the Red Sox. We'll see. But for the Red Sox, just a bad start to the second half, right? So now they are in danger of falling out of the top 10. Can the Cardinals take that spot from the Red Sox by next weekend? Number 9, we got the Kansas City Royals. For the Kansas City Royals, what happened to my... Oh, here we go. Hey, good weekend for the Royals. Good start to the second half, sweeping the White Sox. Great pitching from the Royals this weekend. Only allowed 3 runs all weekend. Seth Lugo was a madman today. Had a complete game. First career complete game. 3 hits allowed, 1 earned. Man, Seth Lugo, what a year he's having here. Offense overall, they're 18th on the year. I feel like they need to add a right-handed platoon bat to put someone out, to put out there with MJ Melendez. I could see Taylor Ward, Lane Thomas. I could see one of those guys. We'll see, But Royals right now, hey, good start for them this past weekend. And let's see if they can keep this momentum going. I think now that the Red Sox have been swept, so now the Royals are 1 game ahead. That is crazy. Just like that, the Red Sox were 2 games ahead. The Royals sweep the White Sox, and the Royals sweep the White Sox, and the Red Sox get swept by the Dodgers, and they just completely flip-flopped in the standings. Where was I? Number 8. I got the Minnesota Twins. For the Twins, not playing great lately, even before the All-Star break. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Giants, and then they dropped 2 to Milwaukee this weekend. So Twins a little flat as of late, right? But again, they have been that hot and cold team. I thought maybe they had gotten by that a little bit, but now it's starting to maybe get back to that way a little bit. Offense is 6th overall on the year. Buxton had a couple of homers today, but unfortunately, Carlos Correa going to the IL, having a good year, but he's going to the IL with plantar fasciitis, so hopefully he's not going to be out too long. Starting pitching, they rank 12th overall, and the bullpen ranks 4th overall. Chris Paddock, he's going to be going to the IL, having a bit of an arm issue right now. So according to Dan Hayes of The Athletic, they could be looking to acquire a rental starting pitcher. So I think Yusei Kikuchi makes a lot of sense for them. I think you got to maybe go after someone like that. Maybe Tyler Anderson on the Angels, I think, could make some sense. I know he's not a rental, but maybe someone like him. We'll see. You got the Reds. If they're looking to sell off a couple of pieces, maybe a Frankie Montas could end up being a guy there. So we'll see. At number seven. So who do I got here? Because I had to move around a couple of teams. Let me just make sure I got this right. Let me make sure. One second. Okay, yeah. No, we're good to go. But at number 7, we got the Milwaukee Brewers, who just beat the Twins. this past weekend. They did lose 2 out of 3 to the Nationals last weekend. But Brewers offense, 7th overall in Major League Baseball. Eric Haas, couple of home runs today. Hoskins had the go-ahead home run today. Jackson Chourio, the game-tying home run today. Chourio's doing great lately, man. In his last 30 games, he's hitting .311 with an .844 OPS, 3 home runs. 24th in starting pitching, though, on the year. They got to figure out the starting pitching. I think, personally, Fetty, Flaherty could make sense for them. Maybe you could go after Eflin. Quantrill, I think, could be a possibility there. Do we got the Brewer? Do we got Brewers fans going crazy in the chat again? Brady, we're not spamming in the chat, dude. Brady, we're not spamming in the chat. You're time out for you, my friend. Time out. But where were we? So yeah, Brewers love the offense, but they need to add something for this pitching staff. A bullpen, you're going to be getting Devin Williams back, so I think that bullpen is actually okay. You just got to add something for this rotation. Freddie Peralta, really good against the Twins, right? 6 innings, 8 Ks against the Twins. Just not big on this starting rotation. Not big on it. Not big on it. So, number 6, we do got the Braves, right? Number 6, we do got the Braves. Now, remember, I'm also... I know right now everyone's like, oh, the Braves, right? Oh, they're so bad. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals, right? Well, remember, they won 2 out of 3 against the Padres last weekend. So, remember, it's not just this past weekend, right? Don't forget, we also had before the All-Star break. So, Braves, they beat a pretty good Padres team over that weekend. However, it's getting tough for the Braves right now. Getting tough for the Braves. Tough for the Braves, man. Ozzie Albies out for a couple of months, at least. Maybe he can come back a little quicker. Probably not. I don't know. When you got the wrist, that's tough. However, they got Nacho Alvarez coming up. Nacho Alvarez, I'm very excited to see what he can do. Very good year in the minor leagues so far. Let me actually pull up his numbers. Let me pull up the numbers here. Mr. Nacho. I believe he is number 6. Number 6. Is he number 6? He's number 5 on Fangraphs. Number 5 on Fangraphs in their organization. But in AAA, he's been hitting really well, right? 27 games, hitting .342, a .425 on base, a .586 slugging, 7 home runs, 5 stolen bases as well. I'm just saying, man. Nacho Alvarez, I think, is going to be a guy that can come up and give some energy. And I'm not saying he's going to, do what Ozzie Albies has been doing, but hopefully he can give you something, right? Luckily, they've had a couple other bats hitting pretty well. Darno, Ozuna, Rosario. Remember, Eddie Rosario just came back. They've been hitting pretty well. But the Braves really need a bat. They need a bat. I disagree, Billy. Brewers should be top 5. I really disagree with that. Once again, we got the Brewers fans going crazy here in the chat. When I'm crunching my numbers here with the Brewers, they actually, when you look at where they rank starting pitching wise and the bullpen, the Brewers mathematically, they're not even in my top 10, right? So I got the Brewers at number 7. So I think that's a pretty good meet in the middle, if you ask me. I'm not a fan of the Brewers rotation right now at all, right? Braves starting pitching staff, I love that. I love the projection of the Braves starting pitching, but they need a bat. I think they will do something. I think the Braves will do something personally. But yeah, no, we got to calm that down a little bit. I don't know. But for the Braves, yeah, this is going to be pretty tough for them. So hopefully Nacho can do something for them. Hopefully. I will say this. I said this earlier in the show. I think Brent Rooker could be a guy, right? I know I see people, they say, oh, Brent Rooker, right? He's going to be, a guy that's under club control. You're going to be getting guys back next year, right? But you figure that out when you get there, right? You need Brent Rooker, I think, for this year. I think a guy like that who could come in, He's not going to be all that expensive either, right? Yes, he's probably going to have to play an outfield spot. I think you would rather have Brent Rooker as a DH, but you got Ozuna there. No, you don't mess with that. I think Brent Rooker needs to be in Atlanta. I think the Braves should do what it takes to get that done. And it's not like he's a rental. You're going to have him for a couple of more seasons. So I think you need to get that done. That to me is the move, right? I was thinking more before the Albies injury. I was thinking, a right-handed hitter like a Taylor Ward, a Lane Thomas possibly if you did that in division. Maybe like a Mark Canha, something like that. A guy that you can, a right-handed bat for a platoon. But now with Albies down, you need a bat. What's up? What's up with all the Braves haters, man? Why are there so many Braves haters? I'm just saying. I still think this is a good team. And actually, when it came to the Braves right now, the Braves, when you look at how good that starting pitching is, when you look at how good that bullpen is, Braves are easily in my top 10. And the Brewers, they are not in my top 10. I'm just saying. Sorry. I'm not trying to ruin anyone's night here, but just it is what it is. So, where was I? Now, as for the starting pitching with the Braves, they continue to get pretty good starting pitching for the most part. Chris Sale picked up his 13th win not too long ago. Reynaldo Lopez was a little bumpy against San Diego last week. Gave up 11 hits in that start. And, or was that? Hold on. Let me see. Let me go back here. 1 second, everyone. Yes, that was the right start. Yes, okay. Just making sure. I didn't want to get that confused. But unfortunately, Reynaldo Lopez, it's not just him. It's not just him having some bumps. Max Fried going to the IL with forearm neuritis. Oh, my goodness. Hurricane Truth. Brewers' record is better. I don't care about wins and losses. That's not the main thing for me. I'm looking at numbers. My goodness. Come on, guys. We've been doing power rankings for a long time. Do you think if I was just going by records, I mean, come on. I shouldn't even be doing this, right? Come on. That's just lazy. We're not just going records. Come on. But Brewers are in a bit of trouble, or the Braves are in a bit of trouble. And they got to make moves. And I think this is where Alex Anthopoulos, he needs to shine. So we had a super chat here from our one and only Sound FX 09, $10 super chat. Braves at number 6, too high. All right. I always trust your opinion when it comes to the Braves. Lost versus St. Louis and lost Albies and Fried to the IL. 3 versus Cincinnati, then 4 against the Mets. Atlanta must buy at the deadline or we're done. Rosarena, Peterson, and Soler, perhaps. Ian Anderson call up soon. That's another name I think to keep an eye out for there. But yeah, again, I'll mention it one more time. I think Rooker's the guy. Personally, I think that's the way to go. I think you need to go with a bat like him, a guy that's just going to bring some impact to your lineup. I feel like that Braves lineup right now, it's so crazy when you think about the Braves lineup last year. You were just scared of that lineup. And now the Braves, it's taken so many hits. Goodness gracious, man. Like how times can change so quickly. Man, oh man. So I got the Braves at number 6. So yes, Sound FX, I do hear you. You're thinking too high, right? But again, and the Braves are actually looking not too bad not too long ago. And, unfortunately, yeah. Tough news with Albies. But, I think they'll be okay. I believe in Nacho. So, moving on, top 5. I got the Yankees. I know people might think this is a little high. But remember, before the All-Star break, they did win 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, right? Unfortunately, another dropped series this past weekend. Well, it's not dropped just yet. They got one more tomorrow, so they could still even the series up. So, but the weekend series, they dropped, right? They lost 2 out of 3 over the weekend. Offense is still one of the best in the game. They're 4th overall. Soto, Judge, Volpe, Grisham, they've been all hitting well lately. Starting pitching had some bumps this past weekend. Cortez, he got beat up by the Rays a little bit. But Cole, he pitched really well against Tampa. 6 innings, 1 earned, 8 Ks. I think Cole, look out for him in the second half. I'm expecting a big second half. But now, the news with the Yankees, according to Bob Nightingale, is they are willing to give up Spencer Jones in a deal. Willing to give up Spencer Jones in a deal. This is something for the last couple of years where we've seen the Yankees, they don't want to part with Spencer Jones. And I think that's big if they're willing to give him up. If they could land Crochet. I mean, I keep talking about, how the Dodgers are a great fit for Crochet. I think he could also be a great fit for the Yankees too. Right? The Yankees, they got a nice full rotation there. And then you got a guy like Crochet, making multi-inning appearances out of the bullpen in the postseason. And then you still have him under control for next year too and the year after that. I would love to see the Yankees. I mean, I would hate to see it, but from looking at it from just an overall objective point of view, I think Crochet would be awesome for the Yankees if they could get that done. We'll see. But they've also talked with the Cubs about Jameson Taillon. I mentioned that a little earlier. But the Yankees, they're going to make a move at the deadline. I just wonder what that move ends up being, right? I don't think you're going to have to give up Spencer Jones for Jazz Chisholm. I would imagine you don't do that. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. Yankee fans, let me know. Because he's not having a great year down in the minor leagues. It doesn't feel like the right move. I could be wrong. But would you give up Spencer Jones for Jazz Chisholm? I don't know. It feels like, I almost kind of want to see if Jones can turn into something. Maybe. Let me know. Number four, the Guardians, man. I almost, if the Yankees, if they had won all 3 this past weekend, I think you could see the Yankees in this spot. But the Guardians are having a tough time right now. They're having a tough time. Man, losing 3 out of 4 to the Tigers, 2 out of 3 to the Rays last week, and then you lost 2 out of 3 to the Padres this weekend. They need pitching. They need starting pitching. They need to go get someone, right? This offense is fine. They're 12th overall in offense. I don't think you necessarily, need to, sound the alarm and add a bat. I think you need to sound the alarm and add something for the rotation. They're 26 overall. Add something. You got the best bullpen in baseball. You're 1st overall in Fangraph wins above replacement. They got to add something for this rotation, man. I need it. I think someone like Eflin could be really good for them. I know we've mentioned them a couple of times tonight with the Cardinals, but I think you need someone like that, right? Could it be someone like Evaldi? I would love that. If the Rangers do sell, I'd love to see Evaldi with the Guardians, right? A guy that's shown what he can do in the postseason. And could you imagine Nathan Evaldi, carrying the Guardians, to the American League Championship Series possibly? I'd love that. Guardians, they really need to add something here, starting pitching-wise. But right now, I mean, I'm going to hold with them at number 4. They got bailed out a little bit by some of these other teams, but not playing great as of late. All right, number 3. Do got the Dodgers. The Dodgers bump up a spot here. We just talked about them. Great weekend for the Dodgers, sweeping the Red Sox. They're 1st overall in offense. Freddie Freeman with the grand slam the other night. Will Smith had the walk-off yesterday. Kike Hernandez, my goodness, just torturing the old team. And then the offense came out swinging today. Shohei Ohtani with an absolute just missile. My goodness, I think that went 470 feet. I don't know the exact number. But, hey, Dodgers offense looks fine to me. And the pitching is going to be getting healthier here. Glasnow, Kershaw, they will be back this week. or I think they're already back. I think they've been activated. Yamamoto, he did talk today. He said the goal was to be back this year, but he is back to throwing, not on a mound just yet, but Yamamoto, he will be back at some point, hopefully, for the Dodgers. This is where I think, again, someone like Crochet, I think, because you still have a good amount of pitching there, I think he's perfect for the Dodgers. I do. But Walker Buehler, he's going to be making his way back here soon. He threw in his hometown in Kentucky. Should be back with the Dodgers this week. He's going to throw a bullpen, I believe, and they're going to check him out, see how he's doing. You got some relievers coming back here. Brusdar Graterol, he's going to be making a rehab stint this coming week. So we'll see. But, I talked about it at length in the beginning of the show. Crochet, Robert, Kopech in a package. I mean, that'd be massive. If the Dodgers did that, that would be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Now the question is, who's number one? Who's number one? It's either the Phillies or it's the Orioles. Either the Phillies or the Orioles, right? It's tough, right? Because I think you can make a case for either. I think these two teams are... Something just fell in my apartment. I don't know what that was. But you can make a case for either the Orioles or the Phillies. I think it's so tight right now. I think it's so tight. Because when you look at the Phillies, they're third in offense, they're third in starting pitching, and they're second in relief pitching. The Orioles, on the other hand, they have a slightly... At least ranking-wise, they are second in offense. And they also have a top 10 starting rotation and bullpen, right? But the Orioles, they've taken their bumps lately with the starting pitching. I think right now, I don't know. You could go really either way. I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer here. I know I'm not really like a tie kind of a person, but I really think you are like evenly matched. I think you can go either way. I'm going to say this right now. I thought about this today. I know this might be kind of an easy answer, but I would not be surprised at all to see these two teams in the World Series. I think they're so good, right? Yeah, the Phillies had a bad weekend, right? Losing 2 out of 3 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates are hot right now. So, that's one thing to consider. It's always tough when you go up against a hot team. And then, the Orioles, they won 2 out of 3 against Texas, right? A team that needed to kind of win a couple of games here after the break. And, they had some urgency. And here are the Orioles just taking care of business. So, poll. I try not to do the polls. All right, I'll do a poll. Let's do a poll. I have mine. Like, I do have it. I do have a team that I have for the number one spot. But let me see what you all think. Let's set up the new poll. If you can help us get to 200 likes, I will love you forever. Also, Ethan Sacco, I did see your super chat here. I'm sorry, I forgot to read that one. You said here, it's not as bad as last year, but the Yankees have been dropping off in the second half the last few seasons. I wonder why that is. It's very interesting. I think it's more so teams making adjustments, right? And then the Yankees just failing to adjust to those adjustments, right? I'm willing to wait on the Yankees a little bit. I'm not going to jump to conclusions just yet on the Yankees. So let's see how they do this coming week. But let's go. Let's see what you all think. Who's number one? I'm very curious. Let's see. Who's number one, Orioles or Phillies? Let's see what you all vote. Ooh, very close. Very close. Wow, look how close that is. 52% for the Phillies. Oh, wow. Okay. See, I still have 60% strong for the Phillies. Is there bias there? Or is that just more Phillies fans in the chat? I don't know. Ethan, Ethan, phenomenal comment. You forgot to put the Cardinals in the poll. Phenomenal comment. You're right. Just for that comment alone, I want to put the Cardinals in this poll. All right. Well, 58% go to the Phillies. 58% go to the Phillies. You know, again, I will say, you know, it's really even. When you look, I mean, let me actually go my numbers here. So, 7, hold on. Let's see. What did I have for the Phillies here? It is close. So close, man. But yeah, I think for me right now, you know, when you look at the rankings, right? When you just look at where the Phillies and the Orioles are when it comes to the offense, they're pretty even, right? Baltimore's second. Baltimore, Philly is third. Baltimore is second. So that's pretty even. But when you look at the pitching, I mean, yeah, the Phillies, they ran into some bumps this weekend, right? They ran into some bumps. But when you just look at the pitching staff for the Phillies, it's on another level, man. It is. Like, what was it again? It was... They're third in starting pitching, and they're second in relief pitching. Tyler Phillips today. I mean, even Tyler Phillips today contributing for the Phillies. 6 shutout in his second career start. Are you kidding me? I don't know, man. I don't know. This is so good. Yeah, Phillies also did have a bad weekend last weekend. Do keep that into account. The Orioles did lose last weekend as well. I think for right now, I think there is a huge case to put the Orioles at number 1. I'm just not ready for the Phillies yet to get out of that top spot. I'm not ready for it. I'm not. I try to find an excuse to put the Orioles in the number 1 spot, but until I see something for that rotation, I just it's hard, right? Because when that Phillies rotation is so good. It's so good. And then also, can I just point this out too? Nick Castellanos. What is up with this guy? This guy homers anytime some major event happens. Or like anytime they're honoring someone on TV or they're going over like some apology or whatever. Let me just run through the events of Nick Castellanos. It first started with Tom Brennigan, or not Brenneman, with the apology, right? Deep drive to left. That's where it all started. Then the Royals were honoring a World War II veteran. He homered then. I forget where this was. They were honoring a Memorial Day. He homered then. Manuel, they were talking about him, right? He was going through stuff, and they were sending well wishes to him. He homers there. Willie Mays, the day he passed away, they were talking about Willie Mays on the broadcast. He homered then. And then I'm going to say this right now. I don't get into politics on this channel. Don't even bring it into my chat. Don't even do it. I don't do politics here. Don't even do it. But, yeah, the whole thing that happened with Trump, homered then, right? I mean, holy cow, like, that's just crazy. And then today, we get the news of Joe Biden stepping down, and he homers then. It's like every time something big happens, Nick Castellanos just wants to hit a home run. I don't know. It's just pretty hilarious at this point. I don't know. But Bob Nightingale, as for the off-the-field news, again, Phillies with a bad weekend. One more before I get to the Nightingale stuff. not a good weekend. You know, Pirates are a hot team right now. They just ran into a buzzsaw there, in my opinion. But right now, when I'm looking at the statistics, I just have to lean with the Phillies right now. Baltimore is so close. So close, right? But as for Bob Nightingale, he was saying that the Phillies are not interested in Jazz Chisholm, Tommy Pham, or Brent Rooker. That was something that came up a little while ago, that the Phillies were looking into Brent Rooker. I didn't see that really. I think the Phillies more need to add like a platoon kind of a bat with Brandon Marsh out there. I think Taylor Ward, I think Mark Canha, I think Lane Thomas. I think either one of those would be good for the Phillies. But as for the Orioles, right, I love the offense. Santander, he's hitting well. OPS over 1,800 in the last 7 games. O'Hearn, Mullins, they're picking it up. Henderson, he continues to hit well. He's great. But again, I need something for this rotation. Right? Corbin Burns, G-Rod, they're good, right? Burns is great. G-Rod's going to do what his usual G-Rod kind of stuff is, right? He's solid. But they need Skubal so bad in this rotation, man. They need that. They need it. I think he's perfect. You know, Dean Kramer was okay today. But when I'm thinking postseason, I don't know, man. I need a little more. Bullpen, yeah. I think you're making case for the bullpen. I think they could add something there too. And I will just point this out one more time. Skubal, would they be willing to part with Jackson Holliday? I wonder. So, everyone, before I wrap it up, I got a super chat here, $5. It actually started with his first professional career home run. It happened the day Osama bin Laden was announced dead. Really? Was it that? I actually didn't know that. Wow. Nick Castellanos, man, the timing is off the charts. But everyone, wow, Conman752 with a super chat right before I was about to say we were done. If there are 2 rainouts, Game 7 of the World Series would be on Election Day. Castellanos has the chance to... Please, I need it so bad. Don't tell me that's going to happen. If there are 2 rainouts, Game 7 of the World Series would be on Election Day. Castellanos has the chance to do the funniest thing ever. That would be amazing. Amazing if that can happen. Please, I need it. Politics. You got to love politics, right? Not here. I don't do the politics here. I saw someone in the chat saying, you know, you appreciate that. Yeah, I don't do the politics here. We talk baseball here. Yeah, that's just me. But everyone, I'm going to wrap it up here. But those are my power rankings for this week. Next week, it's going to be more of a trade deadline kind of a show, right? It's going to be talking about news. I might do it in a power ranking style. It just might take a little long to do that. So I might not do it that way. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But we will be live next Sunday, at least, to talk trade deadline kind of stuff. So make sure you have the bell notification turned on. Hit the like button for me. Share the show. Subscribe if you are new. And everyone, thank you so much once again for coming out to another episode of Power Rankings. Go have yourself a great rest of your week. Go get some rest for tonight. It's only going to get busier with the trade deadline coming up. Go check out videos that I've been posting. I posted one this past weekend. I posted one a few days ago as well. Check those out if you have not. But everyone, I'm out of here. Thank you so much. Have yourself a good rest of your night, and I'll talk to you next time. I keep hitting the wrong button.
You what?